To the Masons, no less. I've learned to get ahead in this world. You take friends.
Julia is very impressive and has always been an inspiration to me.
Of course.
How are you progressing next door?
My room's packed up. Yes. That is why Emily Pankhurst wants us to join her.
I certainly know how to take a girl's breath away.
Yes, so
Perhaps-
basically the show is called Murdoch Mysteries. It is a long-running Canadian police procedural. It is set in Toronto during the late 19th and early 20th centuries. The series centers on Detective William Murdoch, a methodical and dashing investigator who uses radical, forensic techniques in order to solve cases. So that is the whole plot of this very interesting series. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, because we will be speaking about the relationship that actually developed between Emily and Lillian. To be honest, first thing I just want to say is that the chemistry is very good. I definitely thought that I wouldn't get, as much of camera time as we actually got, but we got a fair amount of camera time for the two. And to be honest, I really did feel like it was worth it, despite the ending being a very, very big disappointment. I still feel like the storyline was worth the representation, and it was worth, what it represented. So let's get into the breakdown and not waste any more time, but I will highly recommend watching it. So please go ahead and go support it. And if you have watched it, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments as well. So basically, Lillian, she was introduced in season 8 as a passionate, women's rights activist. She left her house after her parents was trying to force her to get married to a man. And since she already knows who she is and what she believes in, she have decided to, basically change her identity, go away and just start a fresh life, because she is a queer woman and she's very, very, empowered, and, she very much stays on her ground when it comes to her own representation. On the other hand, we have Dr. Emily. She's introduced in season 5 as a replacement at the morgue. Emily quickly became known, for her professionalism and also her great personality. Because she works in the morgue, she's the one that helps, in this case, Detective Murdoch to, investigate the cases. And she's a very, very, very important, permanent, in this case, cast member. So the two basically meet in season 8, if I'm not mistaken, episode 8. There's when they meet, and, they basically end up bonding through, activism work that they both were doing for when it came to women's rights. So in this case, Lillian, she was new in town, and Emily, she was already very well known. So they came together for a group of women in order to help, when it comes to women's rights and stuff like that. So that's how they started, their relationship as a professional relationship that later on, actually end up turning to be a little bit more. But when things certainly, besides work, besides doing activism work together, spending a lot of quality time together on a professional matter, when things started to turn for them was on episode 14, season 8, is when they basically, went out, to a party together. And after that party, you can just immediately see that there was a connection between the two that was very much, reciprocate. But obviously, Emily, she was a little bit confused about how Lillian, was approaching her. But Lillian, I feel like she always made it in, very, very well known, not like verbally, but, affectionate wise, that she was into Emily. But later on, at the end of the episode, in this case, season 8, episode 14, you can see that Emily was actually the one that went and made an approach towards, Lillian. Lillian, at the beginning, she basically told, Emily, like, hey, I'm not here to play games. I'm not here to play games. I'm not, someone you can will just basically play around with. And Emily told her, like, I'm too grown to be playing games. So from that moment on, they hooked up. And then from that moment on, they were like together, but, obviously in a secret relationship in order to preserve comments, and also, just to keep everything a little bit profiled, because for privacy reasons. And later on, as, the season progresses, you can see that, Lillian have decided to move away from the city where they are at currently, and she wants Emily to go with her. But Emily was kind of disappointed at Lillian because of the approach. She felt like Lillian was demanding for them to go away. And basically, Emily told her, like, I cannot just leave my job. What I'm doing here is important. And basically Lillian told her, but what we will be doing in London is way more important than what you are doing here. And she kind of felt like, Lily was kind of, somewhere somehow neglecting the job that she does, because she does a very, very good job working at the morgue as a doctor. So later on, you can see that they kind of had a conversation, through the conversation, they have decided that maybe, them going to London together to start a fresh life together would be an option, and Emily would be open in order to do that. So that's basically how, season 8 ended for the two. So yes, so they just have decided to, what, Emily decided like, okay, if this is something that you really want to do, even though I'm not 100% ready to do it, but if you feel like it's the right move for us, I'm gonna go on board with you, because she knows Emily, one of the reasons why she didn't want to go to London is because of her job. She feel like it would be very difficult for her to find a position that she is in at this small town, somewhere else in a big town, especially for her also being a woman, So there was kind of like complicated for them too. But later on at the end of the season, they have decided, that maybe London would be a good move for them. So they both at that point, they were aboard to do it. And also something happened that later on changed Emily's mind. So she was like, okay, maybe it is time for me to also move forward. And then later on, moving forward to season 9, that's where everything basically took a mega, mega, mega big turn for the couple. Because as you see at the beginning of season 9, they were truly in love with one another. They were just making plans, in order to move to London. They were looking for a place. Everything was going well. Emily already informed her work that she was going to London. So she basically already gave like her last days or last week's notice. In other hand, Lillian, she also handled what she had to handle in order to move to London. So they were very like much in the sky. They were high, like very happy that they were gonna make this move together. So excited, planning everything and just planning on visioning how the future is gonna be together. I would like to be to for them just to have this new reality. But that quickly came to an end at the beginning of season 9, as Lillian ends up getting eliminated. Yes, she unfortunately ends up getting eliminated, and Emily saw her, because she went to investigate the crime scene. And when she saw Lillian there on the ground, it definitely just broke her heart. And that's the moment where she realized she lost the love of her life. And now she was trying to figure out what really happened, because the story ends tragically in season 9, just a day before they planned departure from London. Lillian is eliminated. The investigation reveals that Lillian was living under an assumed identity to escape her troubled past. Yes, so later on they found out who was the ones that were in charge of the elimination of Lillian, and she was just broken knowing that she lost the love of her life. But she still have decided, even though she was grieving, even though she was devastated, she still have decided to go forward with the decision that she and, in this case, Lillian have made in order to move, to London. So Emily have decided to move to London despite her being devastated, besides her grieving, besides her not being in the right mind to do, a move like that. She still have decided to go forward with the plan that she and the love of her life had. And that's basically the moment where we can see the departure of Emily as one of the main, characters in the show. So yes, that is their story. To be honest, I definitely did enjoy it. I definitely thought I will only see them together for maybe 1 or 2 episodes. But yes, from season 8 to the beginning of season 9, you can see a couple of episodes of them together and just how they develop their relationship and everything. Despite the tragic ending, I still feel like their story was very beautiful, very short, and hopefully in the future we can get more like storylines like this, just with a different ending. They will also be very, very nice. So yes, this is my quick review on Emily and Lillian's relationship. I will highly recommend watching it. It is available to watch on Hulu, Netflix, Apple TV, and other platforms as well, all depending on your location. So yes, that's basically it. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and goodbye.